Greetings, mortals, and welcome. Please present your tickets for validation. Thank you. Your existence has been acknowledged, and you have been granted access every Thursday and Friday. You will be accompanying your guides, Krista and Brandy, along with a world-renowned guest. They will be exploring an intriguing tendril of what humans refer to as reality each week, as they strive to advance you further down the path to the truths of your physical earth and what lies on the other side. Remember to please keep your hands and feet in the vehicle at all times, and do not exit until the craft has come to a complete stop.
Hey everybody, happy Friday. Welcome.
Happy Friday.
Woo-hoo.
God.
Right? TGIF.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah, I'm 2 days off. I only work 3 next week, and then I get a 4-day weekend again. I'm excited.
I don't get all that, but it's nice to have the weekend off. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I get off for the holiday, but I took a PTO that Friday because I don't want to go to work on just that Friday.
I don't blame you.
I bet you a lot of people did that.
Yeah. So,
I got to work the 4th, but the thing about it is, and everybody keeps asking me, "Are you working the 4th?" Or whatever, and like I can't go do anything the 4th, and I'm like, I get off at 2 p.m. It's like I don't think anybody's gonna be shooting off fireworks at 2 p.m. And honestly, it's gonna be so damn hot.
yeah.
I'd just rather, and you know what? And I just thought about this honestly. Our dog flips out when they're doing fireworks, and so we probably need to stay home. We made a big mistake. Was it last year or before last? And took him to a fireworks show with us.
Mm.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, and we were a long way, and most of it was a drone show, but
Yeah.
they still cooked off the big
Sure.
mortars and stuff. And he was in the truck with us, but I mean, he did not know what to do.
Yeah.
But so we'll probably stay home with him.
Gotcha. And we'll, Brandy and I really, honestly, we haven't talked about it because I'm not going to be home on the 4th. I am going to see Bret Michaels in concert and the fireworks. So, yeah, it's a free concert here in town. And then it's fireworks for the concert. So, yeah, we'll let y'all know throughout the week and stuff what we're going to do.
Yeah, I'm probably working, so
Yeah. So there probably won't be a next Thursday night show.
I didn't expect that anyway, only because we come on at 8 on Thursdays, and then everybody watches fireworks and so I kind of figured that we wouldn't.
Yeah. Anyway, so but we'll let you know for sure. But the way it's kind of looking, let's just everybody enjoy the holiday. It's our country's birthday.
Today is my holiday.
I know. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Today is my holiday. And it's so bad having your birthday like right next to the 4th because it just all blends and blurs together.
You should take off work and come up here and go to Bret Michaels with me.
Oh, no doubt. I wish I could. I wish I could. But, my work had said, don't ask for the 4th off. And I'm like, okay.
All right. Well, you know what this means, right?
What's that?
All right. Here we go.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
See, how do I want to do this? Oh, here we go. Happy birthday, Miss Brandy. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, that's funny.
Happy birthday,
Miss Brandy, happy birthday
Oh,
to
Lord.
you. Mwah.
Wow.
That's funny.
Thank you.
That's quite the happy birthday.
That is
It
my
was.
best. That is my best Marilyn Monroe happy birthday you're going to get.
That works. That's
Oh,
awesome.
Lord. That's awesome. I love it. I couldn't have got a better birthday present.
That was awesome. The male version of Marilyn. There you go.
Yeah.
Freaky
I didn't even qualify as Marilyn Manson on that one. Maybe Charlie Manson, but no.
Freaky Geek says what? No, Mr. President?
Yeah. Well, I was trying to. It was. I'm sorry. It was right there. I didn't. Maybe that was a win. What can I say?
That's hilarious. That's too funny. Brandy, you want to remind everybody what to watch this week, and we'll just get talking about it.
Absolutely. Monday nights at 7 p.m. Central is Danielle Diva. She comes on at 7. What do we know who her guest is this coming Monday?
I do not.
Well, it's the Diva Dimension. Anyway, it's 7 p.m. Central. At 8 p.m. Central, do you know who's coming on? Me and you, Tex.
That's it. Well,
Do we have a guest? I don't know.
Well, the thing about it is we haven't been having a lot of it.
No, we haven't. We've had some great conversations
rolling
with just
with it.
us. So that's awesome.
I'm not really worried about booking anybody. I just kind of take it as it comes.
On Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central, of course, it is Beyond BMR with his co-host, Krista. On Wednesdays at 7 p.m., it's Donnie Cho Says Stuff. At 8 p.m., it's Inhumanoids with Barton Nunnelly and his wife, Letitia. Thursday afternoons at 12 p.m. Central, it's Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Thursday evenings, of course, we are Blondes and Booze. We're on at 8 p.m. Central. Fridays, we come back on at 7 p.m. Central. Saturdays, our friend Paranormal Paul and Paranormal Among Us, I got to back up in just a second, is at 7 p.m. Central. But back up to Thursday, I keep forgetting about Monica because she changed the time of her show. Is at 10 p.m. Thursday evenings, 10 p.m. Central. Don't forget that. Check out her show. She's got a lot of knowledge. Great show. Sundays at 5 p.m. Central, it's Truth or Tinfoil with myself and Randy Gilbert, where we just take a dive into all the things on the internet, pictures, videos, and all this stuff that people are claiming are true. But, it's up to you what you think. And then at 7 p.m., Tex and Danielle Diva or whoever his guest is for the evening, we never know. It's always a surprise, is his newest show and his newest episode, Infamous Minds.
Awesome. That was all right there. You got it down.
That's a whole lot.
And don't forget Paranormal Roundtable.
Oh, yeah, we got Paranormal Roundtable now. They are on Thursday nights, Friday nights. No, they're not on Thursday nights. Are they on Rumble on Thursdays?
Thursday, I believe he was doing Rumble. He's on
Okay,
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesdays.
Okay, you heard that from Krista.
Yep.
Krista.
Yep.
There are so many shows that I'm trying to keep up and catch up on, but everybody knows about my life right now, and it's so hard to figure out what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
So it's good for me just to remember what day it is.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I think we're gonna have to add a weather report in with what.
I can tell you the weather report right now. It's hot. It's muggy. It's sweaty. It's
humid.
Nasty.
Yep.
It's humid. I don't need a weather map for that.
Like, it's like down here in Texas. It's like, for example, Danielle, it was so funny because she was like, "Oh, there's a paranormal conference here, in East Texas over and she goes, "Oh, I'm gonna come down and go." I said, "Okay, cool. I'll go with you." And she goes, I said, "When is it?" She goes, "It's in August." No, no, you do not want to bring your Canadian butt down here in August. You'll melt.
Yeah.
And she was talking the other day how hot it was up there, right? And I'm like, well, what? And I'm sitting here 98 degrees.
Right.
And she goes, "It's so hot." And I'm like, "Well, what's temperature?" Of course, she spits out Celsius. And I'm like, "What?" 78 degrees.
Wow.
Oh,
78 degrees, and she was hot. I'm like, "Sign me up."
Yeah. 78
Man.
would be great.
I don't care. When you get close to that Mississippi, it just feels like swamp.
Oh yeah. There is a thing called what we, how you get sweaty and you get chafed.
Swamp butt.
Swamp butt. There you go, swamp butt.
Swamp butt. Yes, it's a real thing, people. It's real.
It is, man, and it sucks when you're out in the brush in the swamp and you get swamp butt. It sucks.
Nothing like chafing. I'm just saying, nothing like chafing.
Yeah, like good grief. But we were supposed to next month. We were normally at least once a year. I go up to Ruidoso, Mexico. I love that place, and it's a great place to go in the summer because it's it sits up in the mountains. It's in August it may hit 80 degrees, but there's not much humidity, so it's nice. But with all the bad wildfires, it went right through the middle of Ruidoso, and took out a lot of stuff. And in fact, the cabin we stayed in a couple of years ago, gone. Wow. But they did say, but anyway, so we're not going to Ruidoso because I can just imagine what it's like them trying to put the town back together and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to Utah, folks.
Oh,
never been to Utah. I'm going to Utah.
Very cool. Right.
Yeah. We're going to Bryce Canyon.
Okay.
And where we're staying is like 8,000 feet up.
Cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, just be careful. Take it slow because it's gonna be harsh for sure.
Yeah. It's gonna be easier than it would have been a year ago.
Yeah. And true. But
the first couple of days you gotta acclimate,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like, what is this? So Kathy, my friend Kathy from the museum, she went to Colorado with us 2 years ago. And she's like, "Oh, we got to take this stuff." I didn't do it, but I was fine. I didn't get like elevation sickness. I want to say it's like ginkgo biloba or something. Like she was like a diehard with it. I'll find out exactly what it is, Tex. Okay. You start taking it before you get there, like 6-7 hours before you get there. And slowly, it slowly helps you with the altitude.
Oh gosh, I just couldn't breathe. That was it. I just couldn't breathe. I was like,
altitude didn't bother me. I was fine with that. I didn't get sick or anything like that, like some people do. So. Oh
gosh, but when I moved to Colorado, I was 9 months pregnant. Mm-hmm. So where I had to go to the hospital, I had to go up in elevation to get there. And when I got there, it was just like I had to sit on my way into the hospital. It's like, where's a curb? Let me sit down for a second.
Right.
And for the first few weeks, it was like that. But after that, it got better. But and obviously after I gave birth, it was even better. But still, it's like you just get lightheaded and you can't breathe, and you just need to, just chill out for a second or two, catch breath, and then get up, move again.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. Well, I've been kind of looking forward to this. I've been following this Arnie Johnson case for many years. Mm. And for those of you that don't know much about it, we're going to talk about it and tell you everything from the beginning to the end tonight, show you all some pictures. And it's just, this is the one and only case that I know that the defense used possession.
Yeah.
Defense.
It's a very, very interesting case. And if you watch the show, the documentary they did about it.
Yeah.
I think if you took a group of people and watched the show, I think it would be very, very polarizing. I think, you would have a lot of people going one way or the other, opposite.
Well, that's what I thought. Tonight we'll talk about it, and then at the end of the show, each three of us will tell our opinions. Do we believe he was really possessed or not?
Yeah.
go that way. And everybody in chat too, pay attention, listen, and let us know your thoughts too, whether y'all believe that he was actually possessed or not. So
because it is very interesting.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read a few things, like the background. We'll stop and talk about it, and then we'll go on and it's a little bit of everything. So the key players here are Carl Sr. and it's Carl. Judy is the mom. Debbie, Carl Jr. is the oldest brother. Alan and David, and the last name is Glatzels. So. Starts out the trial of Arnie Johnson, also known as the Devil Made Me Do It case, is the first known court case in the United States in which the defense sought to prove innocence based upon the claim of demonic possession and denial of personal accountability for the crime. On November 24th, 1981, in Brookfield, Connecticut, Arnie Johnson was convicted of first-degree manslaughter for the killing of his landlord and friend, Alan Bono. So it goes back, says, according to the testimony by the Glatzel family, 12-year-old David Glatzel allegedly had played host to a demon. After witnessing a number of increasingly ominous occurrences involving David, his family, exhausted and terrified, decided to enlist the aid of Ed and Lorraine Warren in a last-ditch effort to cure the child. The Glatzel family, along with the Warrens, then proceeded to have multiple priests petition the Catholic Church to have a formal exorcism performed on David. The process continued for several days, concluding when, according to those present, a demon fled the child's body and took up residence within Johnson. These events were documented in the book, The Devil Made Me Do It. So let's back up and talk about exactly how this little boy got possessed. So it goes back to his sister, Judy. Judy was the oldest. And then the Carl Jr. is the oldest brother, and then it was Alan, and then David. He was the youngest, and he was 12 at the time. Judy had moved out. She had found a place for her and Arnie. Arnie and Judy were boyfriend-girlfriend. They'd known each other all their lives. And they found a place to move out to. And she had asked the family for help to unpack and clean and this and that. So Mom and some of the boys went over there to help her clean. Well, while there, David encountered what he described as like a scary old man, is how he described it. And he was scared. He was ready to go. Let's go. Let's get out of here. He was done. And begged his mom to leave, whatever. So he leaves. They do leave, and they go home. And it's just like within hours, like that night, he sees this man in his house, and so little things are starting to happen. You guys watched the movie and read too?
Well, didn't the older brother have an encounter, had an experience after the young boy David had his?
Yes. Thank you, Max. Yeah. Yes. So I believe I don't think it's not the oldest brother. It's Alan, the brother one up.
The middle brother.
Yes. So because at first when it happened, nobody saw Arnie Johnson. They thought that he was making this up at first. Not Arnie. I'm sorry, David. They thought David, the 12-year-old boy, was making this up at first because nobody else witnessed it. Nobody else witnessed this old man. Nothing else was happening. And then I believe you're right that Alan was the first one to experience something odd, where he kind of
that day. It was that day. After he had that experience of seeing that old man, then Alan, that's his name, Alan, he went upstairs to take a box or something upstairs, take some stuff up there. And then the next thing you know, the door slammed on him and he couldn't open the door.
Yep. But I don't think he said anything about it at first, though. Because at first, I believe because they didn't believe that David was telling the truth. They thought he was over exaggerating and had an active imagination. The family did.
Yeah, because it was, I think they said what it was later on that night, because the David was having issues at that night. And then him and Alan had a discussion about what had happened. Mm-hmm. And then they found out that they both had an experience in that bedroom.
Right. Yep. So then I believe nothing happened for a few days. It was like kind of calm in the house. And then they were all sitting around watching TV. And David Glatzel started freaking out and saying the man from Judy's house is coming. He's on his way. He's coming here, and he's flipping his shit because somehow he knows this entity is actually coming. And and the family's like, what? What's going on? Well, then all of a sudden they're like, he's here. He's right outside the door. They heard banging on the door. So that's when it hit the family like, oh shit, something's weird here.
Yeah, because I didn't get the full interpretation of what they meant. If this little boy could see through that old man's eyes and was watching him come, or if he was actually seeing him full body from far off. Like if he was.
That's a good question. That's good because I don't know that either.
Nothing ever said, whether, he was actually in this old man or if he was looking at the old man.
Right.
Or if it was just, or if it was just a disturbance in the force thing,
There you go. Right. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, so that starts to take place, and now we're here. We're caught up with the hauntings, and Arnie begged Judy, not Arnie. I keep saying Arnie, and I apologize. David, the 12-year-old, begged Arnie and Judy not to move into that house.
Yeah.
And after that incident that night, they reneged. They did not move into that house. So okay, from there.
Yeah. And also her mother had a weird feeling, a weird vibe about the place anyway.
Yeah.
When she first walked into it, she's like, "Ooh, there's something weird here,"
Yes.
But Judy said, "Oh, it's fine. There's nothing wrong," and because she was dead set on moving out, she was ready to go. Now she was actually she was older than Arnie. Judy was older than Arnie.
Judy was the oldest, and then it was the three boys.
No, Judy was older than Arnie. So Judy was 26 at the time, and he was 19.
19. Yeah.
I think that's how it went. I think she was 26 and he was 19. So she was like, I'm out. We got our place. This is good. They don't listen. They don't listen. So she's like, she was just in a hurry to get out.
Yeah. But she did renege because after they witnessed that night, from what David seen, and said that it's coming, they did decide not to move into that house, which is a good thing because, I guess how much worse can it be, right?
This, you got to take into account of what happened. I mean, you said there was 3 loud bangs on the door, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and then David said, though, that he was at the window. The old man was trying to get in through the window, and he couldn't get in.
Later,
So here's where it goes back to, if it is a true demonic entity, they have to be invited in.
Right.
So fast forward a little bit. I believe it was, this went on for several months where David was possessed, 110% possessed. The family couldn't leave him alone. They would take turns sitting with him. And, they didn't know where else to turn. So it was a friend of a friend. Go ahead, Tex. I'm sorry.
Well, no, you're good. The things that he was doing, I'd like to kind of talk about the way he was acting, because he went completely out of character.
Yes.
He was being disrespectful, is putting it very, very mildly. He was cussing like a sailor, saying just horrible things.
Yes.
Much like the stuff you heard the girl say in Exorcist, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Right. In a voice that wasn't his own.
Yeah, keep talking, Tex. I'm going to show a picture. Here's a picture of the whole family. Keep going.
But the thing about it is, he would also go into what a lot of people call fits, but they were almost like convulsions.
Mm-hmm.
And they would have to they'd all have to hold him down on the floor.
Yep.
And stuff like that. I mean, it was just he breaking things, and it was
awful.
Yeah, and it gradually got worse and worse and worse and worse. Until we get up to the point what you're fixing to talk about.
Right.
But I also want to say this, another part that confused me, because I'm going to point out these little discrepancies as we go.
Mm-hmm.
They had said, the little boy had said that the bad man had made it into the house back when all this first started.
Yeah.
And said he made it into the attic somehow. But see, I don't know, because you have to invite them in.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that happen? How did this thing get in the house when it wasn't invited?
And you make a good point. We don't know the whole existence of what exactly
happened. How story for sure.
How yes, absolutely. How the demonic entity got in, because somebody had to have opened that door and let it in.
Well, but the thing about it is, it doesn't take much.
Well, and here's the thing too, though. My thing is, okay, so children before puberty, they're pure. A demonic entity cannot possess a small child. They cannot possess anybody before puberty. 12 years old, you're probably starting to go through puberty, I would say. So he was probably had hit that age. But any younger, they can't do it. Their free will's not there.
No, they can oppress them.
Well, that's where the demonic entity, that's how they get to the parents. They can torture a child,
right?
But they can't physically possess a child.
Which clearly, according to what was written, that was happening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Poor David was being tortured.
Yes, he was. Yep.
Being,
absolutely.
Scratched and choked, and leaving bruises, and
he could not be left unsupervised. He had 24-hour care, and this is where go ahead.
Didn't it get to the point to where the police were called several times, and
many times, because he was just unruly.
Yeah,
and it wasn't his character. He wasn't. It wasn't his character. And it says, according to testimony by the Glatzel family, 12-year-old David Glatzel allegedly had played host to a demon. After witnessing a number of increasingly ominous occurrences involving David, his family, exhausted and terrified, decided to enlist the aid of Ed and Lorraine Warren in a last-ditch effort to cure the child. The Glatzel family, along with the Warrens, then proceeded to have multiple priests petition the Catholic Church to have a formal exorcism performed on David. The process continued for several days, concluding when, according to those present, a demon fled the child's body and took up residence within Johnson. These events were documented in the book, The Devil in Connecticut. So basically, so the Warrens come in, and we all know, and Lorraine Warren were, to me, they were the first original ghost hunters, the very first ones in the field. And their specialty was, the demonic, the bad stuff. And, they came in, and this is where the oldest brother, Carl Sr., where he has doubts about the possession, because he said that Ed and Lorraine Warren came in and was talking about in front of David Glatzel, like the signs of possession and things like that. The father, Carl Sr., he didn't believe any of it. He thought his kid was just like a brat. And then he would come in and he would tell him, cut that crap out and whatever. And the kid would stop.
Yep.
So kind of throws red flags on that kind of side. Well, maybe he was faking it, especially after the words had just said all of the, what happens when a child or somebody is possessed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And right after they did that, he started showing these acts, almost textbook, like verbatim what they said would happen.
Exactly.
And he started doing that behavior.
Yes. Yeah. So, and here's my thing too. Maybe, obviously, if you're possessed, the demonic entity is going to hear that too. So maybe that's what this demonic entity wanted put out. He's not possessed.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, and a lot of it's really weird, because they had said that the family had gone to the priest in their town. Now they their town is primarily Roman Catholic, which the priest then, put in the petition through the church to go to the Vatican to do, the exorcism and blah, blah, blah. Well, we all know that could take years for them to decide if this is a demonic case.
Yeah, because they have to investigate the case, have meeting after meeting after meeting.
Well, they have to even go through all months and months and months and determine if this is an actual something to investigate.
Yeah, and not behavioral problems or mental issues. Yeah.
Right. And, and the Warrens were known now, this isn't the first time that they performed an exorcism that was not totally church sanctioned.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the other thing. This is where what gets me too, is because they said that the priest contacted Ed and Lorraine because he knew of what they did and how long that the church could take to do this. And because Ed and Lorraine were Roman Catholic, he was very familiar with them. So he put them in contact with them. Isn't that kind of odd?
That is awesome. It's odd, but that priest obviously believed that David was possessed.
Right. But you would think that he would be able to at least do something. I mean, at least expedite it some,
Yeah.
There was a lot of things done wrong in my mind. I think the huge one, they shouldn't have discussed any of this in front of him, period.
No.
I agree.
And I would think that as well versed as Ed and Lorraine were, that they would know this. If they were truly trying to rule out just bad behavior of a brat kid.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you.
I think they dropped the ball on this one. I don't think it was handled well at all.
Yeah.
Well, knowing now, I mean, we didn't know all of this then about Ed and Lorraine Warren, but knowing what we know now, they did embellish a lot.
Yeah.
In their stories, and I know, I mean, it's fame and fortune, get your 15 minutes fame, get it out there, make a little bit of money on it, got it.
Right.
But there's a lot of these stories that are out there that were investigated by them that didn't happen exactly as they had portrayed them.
Well, the Conjuring House.
The Conjuring House is a primary example.
Yeah, Barton, she's talked about that, that when the Warrens were there, it wasn't
it was very brief.
And it was very different her version is very different than what Ed and Lorraine's was.
Right. Well, even the Amityville, even the Amityville thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's to me, I think what happens, and I think they were a victim of themselves, because they did hit that where they were famous.
Yeah.
And I think it may have went to their head.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we see that a lot. I mean, within not just investigators, just people that have an encounter in general. It's like we talk about all the time. And that's honestly, this is the biggest reason we say this all the time. You don't have to have this fantastic, grandioso encounter for us to want to hear it. Because if you taint your encounter by embellishing it, you make the evidence from the encounter absolutely useless.
Yeah. And
you destroy your own credibility.
Right, exactly. Right. And your credibility, I don't care if you're, looking for ghosts or Bigfoot or UFOs, your credibility is everything. Your reputation is everything, in my book it is anyway, All right, so we'll read a little bit further. It says several months later. Well, here, let's go back. Honestly, let's go back here because Ed and Lorraine Warren performed several exorcisms on Arnie. The very last exorcism on Arnie, not on Arnie. I keep saying that. I apologize again, guys. On David Glatzel, the 12-year-old, they performed an exorcisms on him. Arnie was there. He was present, and he seen what this demonic entity was doing to this 12-year-old boy. And he said, "Leave him alone. Come after me."
Yeah.
There's the invite right there. Well, guess what?
That is the invite.
Guess what? That demonic entity jumped out of David Glatzel and right into Arnie Johnson. And I actually.
So do you think that Arnie was the main target to begin with?
Could be. That's a good question,
And
Brandon.
they went after the boys because that's who they could take after, I mean, who that it could to like torture them to make him say that.
Yeah.
Because, even in their interviews, even in the interviews and stuff like that, and the recordings, you can hear Arnie quoting scripture and everything else all the way through this. So you know that
tongues and things like that. Yeah.
Right. So you know that his spiritual side was very strong. So it couldn't take, it couldn't just take him or in a weak moment. He didn't have one.
Well, I'm going to show a couple pictures real quick. This here is David Glatzel and Arnie Johnson. And then this here is David Glatzel with the early years of Ed and Lorraine Warren. This all happened in 1981, I believe. And then also I have some pictures here of the actual possession of Arnie Johnson. So I'll tell you, I've got 3 of them here. I'm going to show them. You may or may not want to look.
It's a trigger warning, everybody. If you do not want to see these, just turn your head, whatever. We'll let you know when we're done looking at them.
Yeah, it's quite sad, honestly. So this one here is of his mom helping him. And you can look at his eyes. I mean, he can barely even keep his eyes open. Look how exhausted he looks. It's awful.
Yeah, he looks very exhausted, like he's been like throwing a tantrum for hours.
Yeah, we'll look at the next two. These next two, man, look at that. It's his mom again, holding on to him, and look at him, just screaming. Sad. So sad. And then this one here is pretty disturbing as well. They're holding him down.
Yep.
During the exorcism, they're holding him down.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so, we're done looking, everyone, if you want to look back. Right. Those are very difficult to look at, especially if you have children, you know, or some little ones close to you. Those are very difficult because when they're making those faces and the anguish, you feel helpless because you can't do anything for them.
Yeah. No, you can't. It's just, it's so sad, man. It's just, I don't know. It really bothers me, that I guess with the kid, he was young, innocent.
And I know we're going both, we're swinging back and forth, talking about both, possibilities. Could it not be, maybe. What if it was both? What if, now I don't know, honestly, I don't know where the kid would have gotten, because it wasn't as prevalent. What year was this?
1981.
1981. Okay. This is one of the many, many questions that we would love to have answered for us that we do not have the answers for.
Mm-hmm.
At 12 years old, you're getting a little rebellious. You're pushing back. You're testing, you're testing your parents because you're coming into your own. You're starting the whole puberty thing. Testosterone's building, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
you're sneaking up, you're staying late at night, you're watching stuff maybe you shouldn't be watching. I wonder if, now I know this is going to sound like totally unbelievable that a kid at that age would go to this extent, but study what I've been studying for the last several months. Understand there's some nasty kids out there.
Mhm.
But I wonder if I wonder if he saw The Exorcist.
Maybe.
Okay, so
And
yeah, The
wait a
Exorcist
minute.
came out before, and he was old
Right.
enough to
R-
find
Right.
it somehow.
Yes. I want go to a friend's house. They watched it on
Right.
VCR, whatever.
Yes.
Yep.
Or maybe it was on late one night, and he wasn't supposed to watch it, but he watched it.
He did anyway. Right. I mean,
Came out
that
in
is a definite
1973.
possibility.
Yeah.
That movie came out in
Well,
1973.
it was out there. There's no doubt. It was available.
Yep.
I know because I watched it.
I did too, and I never should have. That thing still creeps me out because I know it's real.
But what if
The actual
What
story's real.
what now? This is the whole thing took place over how long?
5 or 6 months. Not very
Okay.
long.
From
So
start to
what
finish.
What
It was
if
only
this
5 or
was?
6 months.
What if this was on? What if this was a kid, a attention-starved kid?
Could be.
What if he got it in his head, made this up? Because I'm telling you, guys, kids aren't stupid.
No.
Okay.
No.
And the problem is one of the biggest problems that we as adults have, even being as young at heart as a lot of us are, we do not take into account how devious the little kid's mind can be.
Yeah.
And I know I'm playing devil's advocate here, but yeah, no pun intended. But what if he saw something like that or The Exorcist,
Mm-hmm.
and he either couple of possibilities. If he either did this to get attention,
Mm-hmm.
okay, or if he just started it to get attention,
Right.
and something actually got a hold of him.
Could very well be.
And there's your invite.
Well,
Yeah.
there's this other thing that I was thinking while watching it now and reading all this stuff. Now it says that Arnie and David had a very close relationship.
Yep.
That they would hang out, they'd play games, blah blah blah.
He did. Yep.
So what if that day when they moved into that house, David thought that his sister Judy was going to take Arnie away from him?
Could be.
What
Could be.
if that was the beginning of it, and then once it started, the only way to not get him to move in that house is to keep playing this role?
Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay. So next, we'll move on a little bit here. It says several months later, Arnie Johnson killed his landlord during a party. His defense lawyer argued in court that he was possessed, but the judge ruled that such a defense could never be proven and therefore was infeasible in a court of law. Johnson was subsequently convicted, although he only served 5 years of a 10 to 20-year sentence. The trial attracted media attention from around the world and has obtained a level of notoriety due to numerous depictions of the event in literature and television. A live-action TV prequel titled Where Demons Dwell was released August 31st, 2006. The story was later made into a film adapted entitled The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It in 2021 and was the subject of a documentary, The Devil on Trial, in 2023. It says Arnie, Cheyenne Johnson, and Debbie Glatzel provided firsthand accounts for the version of events depicted on Discovery Channel's A Haunting episode Where Demons Dwell. They said their father was an eyewitness to demonic possession. Both Johnson and Debbie were adamant in their support of the Warrens' recollection of events. They asserted that paranormal activity began after they went to clean up the rental property they had just acquired. David recalled an old man suddenly appeared, pushing and terrifying him. The couple initially thought that David was using the old man as an excuse to avoid cleaning, but David informed them that the old man had vowed to harm the Glatzels if they moved into the rental home. David's visions of the old man included the man appearing as a demonic beast who later muttered Latin and threatened to steal his soul. Although the family allegedly heard strange noises coming from the attic, no one but David ever witnessed the old man. After David experienced night terrors, exhibited strange behavior, and obtained unexplained scratches and bruises, the family called upon services of the Catholic Church, who attempted to bless the house. And then, so let's go back and talk about Arnie Johnson now.
Okay. So
I want to answer a question in chat real quick.
Sure.
Eve Air says the Warrens were not involved in this, correct? No, that's incorrect. They were very involved in this.
Yes, they were. Even in the trial.
Yeah, they performed the exorcism, sorry. And like Brandy said, they were involved in the whole way through the trial and the whole 9 yards. So, they were deeply involved in this.
Yeah.
Deeply involved.
And I wanted to answer another question. Arnie was not convicted of murder. We got to get that straight. He was convicted of manslaughter, which at that time only was 10 to 20 years. But, you had the possibility of parole, and he got it after, it was not even 5 years.
Yeah. So basically what happened is Judy, she was a dog groomer. And Alan, I think his name was Alan Bono. Bono is who the landlord / Judy's boss was. And they were friends with him. It wasn't only their landlord, they were friends with him. Some reports say that Arnie Johnson was also a jealous man. That, he was jealous of, of this guy because, at one time there is a report that Judy and this Bono were a thing, they hooked up. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. I just read where that was claimed.
Well, she was 26 years old, so
could very well have been, But she was a dog groomer. He was a dog groomer, and they were all hanging out and partying, had the alcohol going. And they said that Bono was just getting loud and obnoxious. And I guess Arnie Johnson shut him up, and he stabbed him. I believe it was like 5 or 6 times in the chest area. And I think they said, I read where like 4 of them were like major ones to kill someone.
Yeah, or would have been fatal. Yeah.
Yes. So after that, Arnie fled. And from what I saw where David Glatzel, he knew Arnie was possessed and coming for his family. And I also read where they believe that if the police had not picked up Arnie, that he was headed to the Glatzels, and David and Alan believe that they would have been the next victims.
That's all hearsay. You can't tell for sure.
I don't know for sure. That's what I'm saying. So it just goes back to, okay, so he gets picked up and he goes to jail. And the cops said that, he was he didn't remember anything. When they told him what he did, he's like, well, I wouldn't hurt anybody. Right. He had no recollection of any of this.
Well, see that, and I talk about this too. And y'all, in fact, we've had the conversation. I kind of coined a term called acute possession. And I related it a lot to these women that kill their children.
Yeah.
And then after the fact, you hear things like, I wasn't myself. I don't remember doing it.
Yeah.
This was totally out of character. We don't understand what happened. Everything we're hearing now.
Yeah.
So is it possible that because a lot of people think that to have a weak moment to these things to jump in, it has to be some big thing. It really doesn't. But the invite had been there. We know that. That's documented. Leave him alone. Come after me. We don't hear of any really change in his behavior. You know, he was known to be jealous. Okay. And he was drinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a weak moment right there.
Yeah.
That is a weak moment right there. That's all you need. So, is it possible? Absolutely, it's possible.
There's something else to this story. Let me read this here real quick. Okay. So it says, Debbie's oldest brother, Carl Glatzel, doesn't believe that a demon possessed any of his family members at all, nor does he think demonic forces are to blame for Bono's death. In the film, Carl says that when Ed and Lorraine came to the family's home to gather proof that David was possessed, they described symptoms of possession that David might experience in front of the boys. So the thrashing and cursing spells that David had would be easy for him to mimic, which we talked about. Per Carl's memory, his brother's behavior would cease when his father came into the room and demanded he stop. Carl said to his mother, Judy Glatzel, put the sleeping pill Sominex in her family's food, which over time resulted in extreme side effects. As for the motive behind Bono's death, Carl says there's nothing demonic in this. Arnie was very possessive of Debbie. There were speculations and rumors that Debbie was having an affair with Alan Bono. A detective who investigated the case in the film said that Debbie told officials that she had previously had a relationship with Bono, her boss at a dog grooming business in town. However, the Glatzel's middle child, Alan Glatzel, says he does believe that possession occurred. Whether they believe the demon possession was real, most of the Glatzel family do believe Ed and Lorraine Warren misled the family, telling everyone they'd be rich because they secured a deal for a book based on the story.
And they never saw a dime.
They saw $2,000.
Yeah.
They were paid $2,000. And back then, I guess $2,000 was a lot of money,
Yeah, but not that's not rich.
Yeah. No, not at all.
That would be like $20,000 to us today, I would assume.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range. It's a nice number, but it's not gonna, it's not gonna set you for life.
So it says that the aftermath, the incident led to the creation of a television film titled The Demon Murder Case on NBC and preparations for a feature film, the production of which was stalled due to internal conflicts. In 1983, Gerald Riddle, with assistance of Lorraine Warren, published a book about the incident entitled The Devil in Connecticut. Lorraine Warren stated that profits from the book were shared with the family. Sources confirmed that $2,000 was paid to the family by the book publisher. Upon the book's republication in 2006 by iUniverse, David Glatzel and his brother Carl Glatzel sued the authors and book publishers for violating their right to privacy, libel, and intention of infliction of emotional distress. Carl also claimed that the book alleged he committed criminal and abusive acts against his family and others. He said that possession story was a hoax concocted by Ed and Lorraine Warren to exploit the family and his brother's mental illness, and that the book presented him as the villain because he did not believe in the supernatural claims. He asserted the Warrens told him the story would make the family millionaires and would help get Johnson out of jail. According to Carl Glatzel, the publicity generated by the incident forced him to drop out of school and lose friends and business opportunities. In 2007, he began writing a book titled Alone Through the Valley about his version of the events surrounding his brother. Lorraine Warren defended her work with the family, claiming that the 6 priests who were involved in the incident agreed at the time that the boy was in fact possessed and that the supernatural events she described were real. No independent verification of this claim about the priest's alleged views was provided. Brittle, the author of The Devil in Connecticut, says he wrote the book because the family wanted the story told and that he possesses videos of over 100 hours of his interviews with the family, and they signed off on the book as accurate before it went into print. Glatzel's father, Carl Glatzel Sr., denies telling the author that his son was possessed. Johnson and Debbie, who were then married, wholeheartedly support the Warrens' account of demonic possession and have stated that the litigants were suing simply for the money. So it says Netflix produced a documentary in 2023, The Devil on Trial, based on this case. It includes interviews with Carl Glatzel, whose comments suggest a naturalistic alternative to demonic possession, the influence of Sominex, which is a sleeping pill.
Okay. Here's my problem.
I got a lot of
I got a lot
Here's
too.
my problem. Okay, so you mentioned the sixth priest, right? In
Yep.
Lorraine's own interview, in her own words, she said that she contacted, after Arnie had killed that man, she contacted all 6 priests because she wanted to let them know before they heard it on the news. Why? Is this to get our stories together so we don't say anything, so nobody says anything? Is this like a little bit of a cover-up, or they may have done something wrong along the way? Or is it because there would be no reason to contact them? Because once they saw it, they would already know and they would contact her.
Yes.
Why would she have to contact all of them? That didn't make any sense to me. I was like, what? Why would you do that?
I hate to think that 6 priests would be involved in something that was that horrific and put a family through that.
Right.
Okay.
If it wasn't in fact true, why would you put a child through that?
Right.
Yeah, and none of the priests were talking about it, and I still don't think they have.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. They probably won't ever talk about it.
Probably not.
Well, they've probably been told by the Vatican, you will.
I was going to say they were doing something. Well, they were talking about what it's not the exorcism. It's like the pre-exorcism, but I can't think of the words, what they call it. But it's like, it's not the exorcism, but it's like the beginning of it, the soft side of it, which includes a lot of prayer and holy water and things like that. That's what that is. But that's what those 6 priests were doing.
Yeah.
And then they were talking about David becoming so violent during some of these that they actually had to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, as Lorraine Warren said, she said they should have never stopped. Because once you stop, you have to start at square one all over again and continue with this. It's like once you start, you can't stop until it's gone. And that's what had happened. She said if they wouldn't have stopped, this might have been a completely different story.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's that. I mean, there is that.
Right. Honestly, one of the biggest problems I have with this whole thing is, why are you giving your kids sleeping pills in their food?
Exactly.
And how often are you doing it?
Mm-hmm.
And why are you doing it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
To
What
me,
is the purpose?
that tells me that you cannot control your children, or do not want
To deal with them.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to deal with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Put them to sleep. Let them sleep.
That's like giving kids melatonin every night for no reason.
Yeah.
What's that? I can't pronounce the word, but that Munchausen syndrome. Yeah. He's right. He's right on that. Could be.
And there's Munchausen by proxy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's, unfortunately, it's more common than we want to admit.
Well, if you're thinking about the mother giving that child Sominex every night,
right?
It sounds like this could be that type of case, because she's wanting something to happen, and that she's wanting some kind of fame or something. So she began this because there'd be no reason to give them children sleeping pills by any means, not Sominex.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, the only reason you're going to do that is I just don't want to deal with my kids.
Right.
I don't feel like adulting today,
Mm-hmm.
in 2024 speak. Um, but like I said, it happens a lot, and to even greater extent,
Mm-hmm.
you've got, look at the woman that I did. Hell, we did a show on it. The woman that even convinced doctors that her daughter was sick.
Yeah, she's from
Right.
Springfield, Missouri here.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was
She was just
horrible.
from prison. Yeah.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know.
there's been.
I don't know if I could have
I mean,
convicted her.
they killed their children because they want to be the savior. They'll make them sick, and
Mhm.
then they'll swoop in, take them to the hospital. Oh, I saved you. You know,
Well,
that
it
kind of.
says it wasn't just, this is what I find interesting. It wasn't just David Glatzel that she put that in.
Right.
It said the family.
Yeah,
Everybody.
yeah. Probably her. Yeah. So she didn't.
It's like the Oprah Winfrey show.
It doesn't to me. What it sounds like to me, she was not happy.
Well, yeah,
Period.
because it sounds like the Oprah Winfrey show. Like, you get a Summonex, you get a Summonex, we all get a Summonex. You know, that's what it sounded like. It's just kind of like, I don't want to deal with any of you. It's like, I'm depressed, I'm unhappy, my self-esteem is an all-time low, and basically, I don't want to look at anybody.
Yep. Which now here's a question for you, or here's an idea for you. If she's knocking her whole family out, what is she doing?
Right.
What is she doing?
I mean, is she burying bodies in the backyard? We don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
My guess, if I was going to make and we're guessing, which is speculation.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with an affair.
Very well could be. Yeah.
It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
So this brings me to my next point. So when Arnie and Judy were living together in their mother's house, was she giving it to them too?
It said family. It didn't say just David. It said the family. So I would be
Arnie.
I'm assuming here, yes.
What and Peace Frog is we're on the same page. I'm on the same page with Peace Frog. What if she was having an affair with Arnie?
Oh,
well, that makes it different. But you know, they got married when he was in prison. Arnie married her, the daughter, while he was in prison.
Yep.
And they stayed married till the day she died.
Which was in 2001. She died of cancer.
2021.
Yeah, 2021.
Doesn't mean he wasn't banging the mother. Well,
that's true. I mean, he could have been.
You're talking about a 19-year-old kid.
Yeah, I'm going to show some pictures of them.
But I think I don't think so. I just don't think so, because him and I keep thinking her name's Debbie.
Yeah, the mom is Judy. The sister is Debbie. And here's Debbie Glatzel as an adult. This is her as an adult. This here is the oldest brother. No, that's David. I'm sorry. This is David Glatzel. This one is
the young boy. Yeah.
One that was the 12-year-old that was possessed. Yes.
Right.
This one here. This is him as an adult. This here is Carl Jr., the oldest brother that doesn't believe that anybody was possessed. And then this one is Alan, the middle brother, who did believe. He's the one that also saw something along with David. And this is Arnie Johnson today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what if, Arnie was 19 at the time.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. What if this affair, the woman was obviously not happy.
Yeah.
Obviously. What if this was some kind of Okay, and you said it yourself, Brandy. My self esteem was, all time low. I'm unhappy. I'm depressed. Blah blah blah, and all this kind of stuff. I don't want to deal with you. And she knocks them all out.
Mm-hmm.
This young, attractive man shows her some attention, gives her what she's not getting from her husband or her kids. It's not unheard of.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
It happens a lot.
OPR makes a good comment here. Yes, the U.S. version of Sominex can cause psychological issues such as hallucinations and etc.
Yep.
You know what? And right there you go. That's possession, the hallucinations, and
because that's the only thing. That's the only thing they didn't do to that boy. They did medical examinations, but they never did psychological.
Yeah.
Nothing that I heard of. Red Viking Princess asked, when was this? This was in 1981. So
yeah, because they never did anything psychological with this kid, and that would have been my first thing. Because with us and what we talk about, and what we do, I mean, that would be my first thing. Is like, hey, you got a little bit of a problem. What's happening up here? Because we know that when we see 3 scratches, and we know that if we see bruises that we can't figure out where they came from. We know all this stuff. A lot of people don't, but we know the signs of what we're looking for. We don't have to say it in front of the kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the psychological side would have been my very first, especially for the outburst that child was having. That had been my first, my go-to right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just
okay. So, well, let's Kristen, now we know the story.
I've got one other question. So, they talk about Arnie after he was arrested and this and that. And, he doesn't remember any of this. So why is he not possessed today? He never had an exorcism. Did the demon just leave his body, or what happened?
Well, it could have been right down to what he said. Come at me.
Yeah.
Come for me. Like he would do. And right at that weak moment that, that demon said, all right, I got you now. And did the one thing that would, what the demon thought would ruin his life.
Well,
he killed somebody, went to jail, went to prison.
If you're going down that path, saying this really happened, okay, everything they say was true, okay, I go right back to the whole acute possession thing. These demons jump in, they work their evil, and they jump right out, and they sit back and enjoy the damage.
Right. So, but he said, "Come for me, come for me."
He challenged and invited.
Yeah, that's taunting and provoking that demon, and that demon says, "Not right now." Okay. And they always say, "Revenge is the best served cold."
Yeah, it said that the demon waited several months before it actually
had a moment of weakness, and boom, there it went. I mean, that definitely could have. I mean, because we know that Arnie was jealous, and that her Judy's boss and all these things was just all in together, all at the right time, and that's when that demon said, "Okay, now's my time."
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I think when Arnie killed her boss, I think that he got the soul he needed. He wanted a soul. He got a soul.
But here's my problem. So we don't know what kind of relationship that Bono had with God. And if he was right with God, he would go to heaven. The devil wouldn't get his soul. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can understand that. But we're all sinners too.
But
he was having this relationship with Judy and all this other kind of stuff. I mean, we're all sinners.
Yeah.
I mean, like Tex said, it doesn't have to be anything huge.
Right.
Just something small.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything that we've mentioned here, every bit of it is possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's
Um,
so many scenarios. I mean, who
yeah,
knows? I could be right. Chris could be right. Tex, you could be right. I mean, there's just so many
we could all
scenarios
be
to
right.
this.
Yeah.
We could all be right.
We
Yeah.
just
You
don't
know,
know.
it may be a smattering of everything we've talked about.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and
But
it was the perfect storm.
right. And Judy did say during an interview during the court process
Yep.
that when it happened, when he killed this man, that there was like growling, that his face distorted and changed, and his eyes were black. Now,
Yes.
I don't know if she was saying that to the press to leak it back into the courtroom, to say, to just, press the issue. Hey, this is
Yeah.
what happened. Or did
Right.
this really happen? There's a lot of what ifs in this story. Because like I was going to say earlier with Krista, and I know the story very well about the exorcist and the exorcist's house and the boy who was really possessed. And I believe that to be true 100%. But they also did everything medical to that boy that they could possibly think
Yep.
of.
Yep.
Everything. But
and
this
it
kid,
took-
David, they didn't.
No, they didn't. But see, once again, Ed and Lorraine Warren, yes, they followed the Catholic rules, except there's been a couple times when they thought that, like in this case with David Glatzel, that he needed this exorcism. So it wasn't quite approved through the Catholic Church.
Right. Because it was not approved through the Catholic Church because they didn't wait the time needed for them to determine.
Yeah.
Or somebody jumped the gun and decided to proceed.
And see, and that in itself is a red flag to me, because you are now, and like I said, they started drinking their own Kool-Aid, and they get this, we know better than these people do.
Right.
And we're going to take this, we're going to jump in here and we're going to be the saviors and that type of thing. And that happens. I mean, it happens a lot, man. I mean, look at all these cult leaders that they start off good. They start out with great intentions.
Yes.
They start drinking their own damn Kool-Aid. And the next thing you know, I am the Lamb of God. And if you sin against God, you sin against me. I'm the only one allowed to get a divorce, or I'm the only one allowed to have child brides. I mean, it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so here's the question.
I think a lot is to blame in the Catholic Church.
Yeah. Okay, here's the final question. So I think both sides have the good points. I think both sides of him not being possessed, never no demonic entity. I think there's some good points over there. However, there are some good points of him actually being possessed, I believe.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, do you guys think, was Arnie Johnson, did the devil really make him do it? What's your thoughts? And chat too. Chat what you guys think. Did the devil really make him do it? Let us know your thoughts too.
I'll go ahead and start. I think just because you have a jealous streak does not mean you're violent. Okay. I didn't see any reports of Arnie being violent with anyone. All the reports stating that he was basically a good person. He was on the quieter side of things. I don't believe that he did this just because he was angry. I think that maybe, like Tex was saying, like there is a jump in type of possession where it's like, aha, I'm going to do this right now because he did provoke. I think that he may have been possessed at that moment.
Okay. Number one, you just explained every serial killer there ever was. I mean, you just described every serial killer. Oh, he was such a nice guy. He was a pillar of the community. He was a deacon in the church. He was this. He was that. He was that. He was such a nice guy. I can't imagine him killing somebody.
Mhm.
So I honestly, after I watched the show,
Mhm.
and I'm like, man, but I think that I don't think there was any possession involved.
Mhm.
There's just too many red flags there to ignore with the mother giving them sleeping pills, with whatever she was up to, because I guarantee you, if she's drugging her whole family, she's up to something.
And see,
And
that throws up red flags to me. And back in 1981, $2,000 was a lot of money back then.
yeah,
I mean, it was,
yeah. That would buy a car.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't make me kill nobody.
Well,
Sorry.
not you.
But
No.
you're sane, Brandy. That's the thing. You're sane. Yes, I went on record saying Brandy is sane. But
Let me
you
ask
know
you
what
a
I'm
question,
Oh,
saying.
is
Brandy.
she wrong? She's so wrong.
Let me ask you a question, Brandy. Would you beat somebody to death with a ball peen hammer for $47?
No, I would not.
A guy in Texarkana did that to my uncle.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean
Would you kill
you're talking
somebody
about
for a pair of
somebody who is sane and then somebody who is insane.
I
There
get
is a
that.
difference.
I
But
get that.
they're
Would
saying
you?
that Arnie was sane,
Okay, so would you gun
except
somebody
for that
down?
moment.
Would you gun somebody down or roll somebody for their tennis shoes?
Well, of course not.
Okay. See,
That's morally right.
what I'm
Now,
saying,
that's where your morals are right or wrong. That's not
well,
mentally.
what it is, it's a lapse in judgment and irrational thinking. It's wanting something so bad that you don't think through the consequences, or you just don't care. Okay. If you put all of this together, like I was saying, her drug and her family, she's up to something. I'm sorry. The situation there is ripe for an affair.
Mhm.
Well,
Ripe.
the situation is also ripe because those people are not in the right mind for possession. I mean, because if you're putting them under medication, it's making them weak.
I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that.
Right.
But and I believe in evil. I do. I just it's a gut feeling here with all the evidence that's laid in front of me that I have to go by. This is the decision it leads me to. I do not think that Arnie was possessed. The kid may have been, or the kid may have been mentally ill due to being drugged most of his freaking life.
Yeah.
Or just being
Due to
schizophrenic or
and okay, now here's another wrinkle for you. We go back to the woman drugging her whole family and the attention-starved kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you're being drugged and your mother does not want anything to do with you to the point that she's drugging her whole family, and you're a little mixed up 10 to 12-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here's my next question to you both. So, Ed and Lorraine Warren, I do feel like they were, like I said in the beginning, they're the original ghost hunters. I think they did a lot of great work. Brandy and I actually met John Zaffis. He's a great guy. He's their nephew. And if they were anything like him, I don't see them being devious. You know what I'm saying? Intentionally, because
I think they start out with right intentions. Yeah.
Yes. And so do you believe that they knew that they thought that he really was possessed, or they did it for the money? What do you guys believe about this? And I know, this is like everybody, this is just our opinions. Right. We all think highly of Ed and Lorraine Warren because they have done good things. It's just this particular case we're talking about.
Brandy?
I'm going to go again with what I had said earlier. They embellish stories.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they make them up. I say they embellish the stories.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that they added details to make it more interesting.
For the money.
I'm on the and the fame. I'm on the same page with you on that one, Brandy, because one, I think they were way too knowledgeable to have that conversation in front of the kid.
Yeah.
And they've done this in the past. Why didn't they get him a psych eval?
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was my whole point there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because like I said,
So
we go back to
they either fumbled the ball horribly, or they had other intentions.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I don't know if they did it on purpose.
Right.
But it does kind of sound like maybe they
that.
did.
But, I mean, there have been other stories where they've embellished what really happened.
Yep.
I mean, so is this so out of the question? Absolutely not.
No. You got to go. I think with their part of it, I think you kind of have to go with the whole where there's smoke, there's fire thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I would agree.
I also think that Judy would have never married Arnie if he was crazy. I didn't want to say that loud. I don't think she would have ever married him if she thought that he was abusive, if he were, unstable, whatever. And so I do have a couple of more questions, based on that.
Yeah.
So it's either that this was a story that was embellished to, like I said, make the money, and so they still got married because all that didn't happen. You know what I mean? All that just didn't happen.
Right.
Or it's true. I don't know what it is, because there is a lot of holes in this little story they've got going.
Yeah, there is, and I don't think Arnie was possessed. No.
Yeah.
I think this was probably cooked up.
Or could it have been alcohol-induced blackout?
Very well could have been.
Yeah.
Along with Sominex.
Well, I don't think those two were living in the home at that time. I think they moved out. No, I mean, I think they moved out. So
yeah,
that Judy wouldn't be under the influence, and Arnie wouldn't be under whatever influence he was under, either the mother or Sominex or whatever.
Look what Ron Forrest Jr. just said.
Yeah,
my sister tried to kill me when I was 5, and she was just 13 because she hated boys. So we can't say for sure what people can do.
It's true.
It's Sheldon S. says, I'm a recovering addict and narcissist. Are you sure you're a narcissist? Because most narcissists, or any narcissist, I've never known a narcissist to admit they're a narcissist.
Right.
So I think you may be, and congratulations on recovery.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm just, there's a lot of holes in the story. Like like I said, it could go either way. It could lean your way, Tex. It could lean my way. Either one. Because there are some strange things. Now, the brother Alan believes wholeheartedly that his brother was possessed. He believes that, but he's also the one that had the experience,
Right.
Yep.
By himself, with nobody else being there.
But then also think about this. Okay, sorry, they're letting this dog out here. Think about this. So it said in 2006, these movies and these books, you can't tell me that they didn't profit off of that. The family didn't.
Oh.
So you got to look at David and Alan saying, oh, yes, this was true. But guess what? Cha-ching is putting money in their pocket saying it's true.
Right.
But that just depends on all the royalties. So we can't make that assumption because we don't know who owns the royalties to that.
Well, no, but they got money doing the show.
Yeah.
I mean, because maybe that payoff for $2,000 was for everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't know, but still, I mean, because if one's saying that it wasn't true and he never believed that,
Right.
and then you got the other one saying, well, yeah, it did happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, does that cause a rift in the family, I wonder?
Alcoholic blackout, like Mark says, can happen, can open a person to total possession. Then they wake up in jail not knowing what the hell happened. I believe that.
And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what he had said.
Yeah.
Because they found him.
Yeah.
You have a jealous guy. You have an admitted affair. You have a younger guy.
Mm-hmm.
You have you have drinking involved.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and then to blame it on possession, it's awful convenient. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree.
And then, I was possessed, so I don't remember anything that happened.
Right.
Well, he never said that. All he said throughout the trial was, I do not know what happened at the time of the killing.
He didn't remember.
Right.
Don't know.
You don't remember.
He don't remember.
Yeah.
But it is the Warrens and his, well, it would have been his soon-to-be wife were saying that it was possession.
Now, what I would like to find out is who was his lawyer, and was he recommended by the Warrens, or was he one of their lawyers?
So supposedly, I don't remember the exact what the name was of the lawyer, but like the Warrens did reach out to the attorney. That I do know.
But the attorney also was not allowed to present his case as possession because the judge threw that out first day. Right. He said, no, we're not doing that. Mm-hmm. So he had to try the different way of, just trying to say that he was a good person, that he doesn't know anything. And he did maintain through the whole thing until this day. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
And that is one of the things of being possessed too, besides the blackout. In possession is not remembering things that you have done because you are not in control.
Yeah.
You got possessed there for a second.
Yeah. Here's a quick question. Let's answer this, and then we're going to have to cut the show. But Little Patty asked, do y'all think an exorcism would harm someone who is not possessed? Could open them up, I believe.
Yeah.
Well,
good.
But I don't see how somebody praying over me could hurt me either. So I don't know. We would have to ask somebody who does exorcisms because I have no idea.
I think it depends how strong you are in your faith.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Wholeheartedly.
Didn't help Arnie much, did it?
No, not too much. He still went to jail, but he only went to jail for under 5 years. So evidently something happened. Right.
There is that.
Right. Yep. That's it. So, all right, guys, man, this has been fun. This has been an interesting topic, for sure. And Tex, I appreciate you coming on and hanging with us tonight.
I wasn't going to miss this one. There wasn't no doubt.
Yeah.
I appreciate you letting me know and let me come on and talk about it. I love this. This was I had fun. Really.
Like I said, I've been following this case for a long time, and I'm still torn. I know Brandy's got her opinion. You've got your. I'm still torn. There's good points on both sides, and
could be wrong. Everybody could be wrong. So I mean, it's just fun to talk about all sides of it. Having that's a good debate.
Right. Absolutely. So thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. I appreciate it. Brandy appreciates it. Tex appreciates it. Real quick, thank you to 1234, to Tex, to Tennessee Ridge Runner. Thank you guys very much. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
And tune in to Paranormal Roundtable right after the show. I believe Josh will come on around 9:00. And then tomorrow night is myself, and actually Fisher Spam is going to co-host with me. We're taking over Paranormal Paul's show tomorrow night. He's got some other things going on. So, and then
I got a feeling we're going to start seeing a lot more of that boy.
Fisher Spam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He just fit in so well with all of us. You know, he was great.
Yeah, well, that's my son. No, I'm just kidding. No, it really is. No, it isn't.
Don't tell people that. You'll be starting rumors, Brandy.
I know. He's my adopted son. How's that?
There you
It's
go.
mine and Brandy's love child.
Yeah.
Okay, now Tex, you're starting some rumors here. But anyway, we appreciate everybody tuning in tonight, and I hope you enjoyed the show as much as we enjoyed talking about it. And we will see you all on the flip side. Y'all have a good weekend. Take care.